Well, welcome everyone to the third day of Startup Week, right? The third day. My name is Carolyn Ortman and I am the president of CKO Marketing Group. Welcome to Beyond the Logo, Brand Your Business and Stand Out from the Crowd, right? How are you going to stand out from the crowd, whether you are a business owner currently, whether you're building your business? This is what we're going to determine on this short journey to building your brand. As we walk through this presentation, and as you take this journey with me, I want you to think about how are you unique. Branding is all about how you are unique, bringing value to the customer. What is the value that you bring? So how are you unique? Because everyone's got something special and different that they contribute, but how are you going to stand out? That's what we're really going to talk about. So let me tell you a story. So this is my father, Gaylord Ortman. And like so many people, he had dreams and he had visions and he had big ideas. Yeah. He was an artist. He was a metal sculpturist. He was a visionary. And he would often spend time in his workshop crafting pieces of metal together and making what he envisioned in his mind something great. A lot of people couldn't see it though. He had this vision. And his works were sold to private homes, to commercial entities, to offices. And it's really kind of fun actually these days. We go online, my sister and I, and we Google my dad's name and we find out like where did his art end up? where did it go? So this was one of his works of art. He was definitely the creator. You know, and I don't think I gave him enough credit when I was a child. And you don't, right? You don't appreciate the creativity, the innovation that someone like my father has as an artist. I would go down to his workshop and I would watch him craft these pieces of metal together, whether it be aluminum cans or small, thin little pieces. And then he'd ask me to clean up his workshop and he paid me $5. Wow, you know, big at the time. He paid me $5 to sweep out his workshop and to organize his tools. You know, now that I think about it, I probably should ask for a raise because $5 wasn't a lot for sure. But again, I didn't really appreciate his creativity. He was so ahead of his time, I realize now, as an artist. I didn't appreciate his creativity until guess when? When he made things for my sister and for me to have fun with. Now this is a picture of a homemade teeter-totter that my dad made out of metal piping. We had loads of fun on that thing, hours and hours of fun. And I'll tell you a little bit more about where that thing ended up a little bit later. But as his work got out there, he didn't really realize how creative he was, how innovative he truly was. As I said, he was ahead of his time, and I believe he was the best kept secret. I really do. So how could he have done better? See, if he had the marketing techniques that we have today, if he had the advantage of social media, if he had the advantage of all of the varieties of digital marketing out there, maybe he could have had more people appreciate his art. But here's the thing, even with all of those marketing techniques, he still would have had to have a core message. He still would have had to have the right audience. He still would have had to have the right following, and he would have had to have a brand. So just because I think he was great, and a lot of people did, and maybe he didn't get his message out in that way, he still would have had to have that core brand. So for you, how are you unique? My father, right, I believe was very unique. But you don't have to be an artist to discover your uniqueness. You have to just discover how you yourself can resonate with your audience and how your key message resonates with your audience. So we're going to take a little journey into branding Brandland and find out how it is that we are going to brand ourselves, brand our businesses, whether you're a startup. How many of you have a vision to start a business by show of hands? Right? How many of you are in business currently? Yeah? How many of you would never start a business no matter what I said or what I did to convince you? Okay, good. So you're all in the right spot. How can you get the word out and brand yourself? That's what we're really going to talk about. A lot of branding is about feeling. It's about feeling. Just putting these logos up here, you might get a sense of a feeling or an emotion. right? If we look at an Apple logo, right? Some people are Apple fans, some people not so much Apple fans. But what is Apple about? If we captured Apple in just a few words, it would probably be innovation. It would probably be forward thinking. It would probably be visionary. Starbucks. I teach students internationally, and a lot of the students will say to me, when I ask them, why do you like Starbucks? They'll say, I like that they write my name on the cup. I said, is that it? Is that all? That's what they appreciate about Starbucks. Starbucks created a movement. They created an experience for people. And you feel it just by looking at that particular logo. And McDonald's, that's the place that you can take your kids, you can have them throw fries on the floor, and you know that you're going to get the same experience time after time. It's that consistency with their food, how they serve you. Right? McDonald's is all about consistency. So I hope I'm giving you kind of an awareness as you get out there beyond this workshop and think about, why do certain logos capture your attention? Why do certain products resonate with you where they may not resonate with other people? So just looking at the logos is interesting. So what is branding really, right? This is why I call this workshop Beyond the Brand. Is this branding just looking at logos? Is that what we call branding? A lot of people think it is. Is this branding a website? Is that what branding is? Let's look at some of the interesting statistics in the Did You Know? In the United States, there are 180 brands of dog food. There are 2,000 brands of bottled water. There are 134 brands of cough and cold remedy. I don't know about you, but when I walk in the drugstore and I want to get a cold remedy, I'm confused because I don't buy them that often. How do you choose? There's so much choice out there. What branding is about, it is about standing out from the crowd, but what good brands do is they say this: here I am, here's what I'm about, I'm not for you, but I'm for you. And that's okay, because not everybody is going to be your customer. How do you, as I call it, there's a lot of noise out there, isn't there? There's a lot of noise. How do you do what I call punch through the noise? That's what we're going to look at. How do you rise above it all and really punch through the noise? So let me give you some examples. This is one of my favorite examples. Who's familiar with this spokesperson? Ready? By show of hands. Right? So what's the product? Dos Equis beer. So this spokesperson, the world's most interesting man, this campaign came out around 2006. And a few years later, as the craft beer market started to take off, right, imports started declining. With Dos Equis and this person as their spokesperson, actually several years through that turmoil, beer sales for Dos Equis were raised by like 35% because of the spokesperson. This was a combination, this campaign was a combination of Ernest Hemingway meets James Bond. And one of the reasons this was such a big pull was because of the stories and the humor behind this product. What stories could you tell about your product or your service that will resonate with your core audience? That's one way you can brand yourself. Doesn't mean you have to have a spokesperson like this. You might, maybe you'll have a spokesperson, I don't know. But this worked for Dos Equis. Now, they retired this individual a few years ago. They sent him off into Mars, and they acquired a new spokesperson, a younger spokesperson. And guess what? They've since retired that whole campaign because it wasn't as effective. Interesting. Another campaign that I really think is key in what branding is about and how branding is done well is Mike Diamond Plumbing. So Mike Diamond Plumbing, it's a plumbing outfit in Southern California. So here's what Mike Diamond Plumbing did years ago. He had this vision, he had this idea that plumbing could be better, right? The plumbing service could be better. So what he did is he asked people who use plumbers, what are you not getting in your plumbing service? What would you like to see? And they would say things like, oh my gosh, those plumbers are so undependable. They never show up on time, I have to wait for a couple hours, they don't smell good, they got the Bubba's crack going on, it's just like not a good scene. I just really cringe when I have to hire a plumber. So he said, how can we make plumbing better? How can we make that industry better? So he developed a brand called the Smell Good Plumber. And he's got several locations throughout Southern California. You will see his brand on the trucks, on the billboards. You will hear the Smell Good Plumber on the radio spots online. So he took plumbing and he turned it on its head, and he has the guarantee. If my plumbers show up and they don't smell good and they are not on time, your service is free. Interesting. So this is one example of the consistency that needs to happen with your brand. Once you develop your brand, you have to get it out there in a consistent manner, no matter what marketing channel you are choosing. So the Smell Good Plumber. So what is branding and why is it important? I want you to think about that everything you do in your business should point back to your brand. Whether it's answering the phone, whether it's how you do your billing, whether it's how you're pricing your services and your products, whether it's your uniqueness out into the marketplace. If I talk to your employees, are they speaking the language of your brand? Whether that be dependability, whether that be empowerment, whether that be accountability, what is the language of the brand that you want to communicate? And it should be pervasive through every single aspect of your business, because that's the consistency that's going to drive people, people are going to remember, that's going to drive people to your products and your services. So think about, where are the gaps in my business? Or if you're starting the business, right? Pay attention to this, because it's not just to have a colorful logo or to have a cool tagline or have a great website. It's really serious business, and you've got to start with your brand before you even put that marketing strategy together. You've got to have a branding strategy, which is all about that uniqueness and standing out. So here's the value of a brand, and I might have to step out of frame. 50%, I'll use my glasses there. So 50% of, when a business is sold, 50% of the value of that business when a business is sold is due to the brand, 50%. So when you decide to sell your company, you better have a brand, because investors, 82% of investors believe that brand strength and name recognition are becoming much more important in guiding them to in their investment decisions than anything else. So key to having that value placed on your business is, do you have a brand? My sister is a personal trainer, and she had a personal training business in Wisconsin for 10 years. She was known in that community. She had a large following of customers. And when she sold that business, it really was about the brand that she created, because the person who bought the business was acquiring her book of business, her notoriety, her security. They were buying that, and that's what really counts, because people enjoyed what she had to offer and how she did business. So think about, again, how am I different? What value is your brand creating? And how you're going to do that, how you're going to maintain that. All right, so this is a definition of a brand that I stole from Eric Schultz's Smart Marketer's Toolbox. But I think it's a good one, because it gets us really thinking about what is the core of branding and what's the crux of it. So I left this open-ended to see if maybe you could come up with what the fill-ins are. Anybody have any idea? An experience living at the intersection of blank and blank. Anybody have any? Anybody want to take a stab? This is the audience participation part of the presentation. Anybody want to take a stab?
Hometown and Main.
One more time?
Hometown and Main Street.
Hometown and Main Street. Okay. All right. No. Close. I mean, it's woven in there. Okay. Think a little higher level. Pardon? Work and play. I like that. I like that too. Okay. Not quite. All right. I'll put it up here for you. Promise and expectation. Promise and expectation. You put out a promise. As your product and service is a promise to me, the buyer, that you will deliver. Right? You're going to deliver. I have an expectation based on how I see your product or service out in the marketplace. It might be an expectation because I see a review on Yelp. It might be an expectation because I talk to someone about your product or service, or I see you on social media. So I have an expectation of what I'm going to get. Am I going to get dependability? And let's just say I see that I expect dependability and I expect great customer service, but then I call you and it's hello. It's not what I would expect. You're promising me, because of the brand you're putting out there, that you're going to be dependable, you're going to provide great customer service, and if there's a disconnect there, then we have a problem. So an experience living at the intersection of promise and expectation, how are you putting out a promise, and what is the customer expecting from you, right? When those two match, then that is branding heaven. So think about how that's going to work for you. Brand positioning, the battle for your mind. So Jack Trout and Al Reese wrote this book many years ago about positioning. And this is where I want to get into the crux of what branding really is. Positioning is about perception. It's not smoke and mirrors. I've been in the marketing field for many years. It's not smoke and mirrors. Marketing is not smoke and mirrors. Yes, there is some bad marketing out there. But if you do marketing right, you're sending a core message to your audience that you're looking for, that you have the product or service that they need. And there are some elements that we want to look at for how that's done. So there is a perception out there, right? So here, what does the brand stand for and how is it perceived relative to the competition? I travel a lot, and I give a lot of trainings and a lot of seminars, and I stay in various hotels, whether it be the Holiday Inns or the Hyatts or the Embassy Suites or Marriott's or the Hilton hotels. And each hotel has a distinct position within my mind, within the consumer's mind. That position might be based on the amenities that they offer. It might be based on their customer service levels. It might be based on how customers receive them. But it's a position that you in your mind, you are perceiving, and that position either resonates with you or it doesn't, right? Why do some people choose Holiday Inn over the Marriott? Why do some people choose Embassy Suites over Best Western? Right? Because there are different attributes that those hotels offer that resonate with some people, but not everybody. So remember, not everybody is your customer. I'm going to probably say that more than once. Not everybody is your customer. Where is your product or service positioned in the consumer's mind? And how are you going to find that out? How can you find that out? Pardon? Trial and error, okay. You can ask them. You can say, okay, so here I'm representing this particular service compared to, and you give them the attributes, you tell them what you offer, compared to these others. How would you rate? Or even better, when you're looking for a hotel, what do you look for? What are the attributes, benefits that you look for? When you're looking for a plumber, this is what Mike Diamond did. When you're looking for a plumber, what are you looking for? Well, I'm looking for someone who shows up on time. Okay, that makes sense. That's a no-brainer. Really? We used to think that, but how many contractors don't show up on time? Okay, great. If Mike Diamond can deliver that, perfect. So ask them, what is important to you? If I deliver this product or service to you, what is important? What are you looking for? How can I make it better for you? Yeah, so it's about how they position it in their mind, how we make that connection. So what does this mean for your business? How many have seen this, this right there? How many have seen that before? What is that showing? What is that showing? What's the one is there only one thing that you see? What do you see? A saxophone player and a woman's face. Yeah, a woman's face. It's how you look at it. Stephen Covey, who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he used to say that our world is based on the glasses that we put on to see the world. Your job now in your marketing is to determine how your audience sees your particular product or service. What are the glasses they're putting on to see that product or service? And again, what is important to them? So it's about perception, and branding is the key to driving that perception. Here's the thing. You're going to have a brand no matter what. Whether you're out there on social media, whether you do no advertising and no marketing, but is it the brand you really want? Is it the brand you want to put out there? Is that what you want to be known for? Why not you drive the brand rather than being reactive and have the brand drive you? So being proactive with your brands means creating it, means doing some homework, means asking your potential customers what it is that they need and want from your product or service. Have to bring up Starbucks again, I know. How many of you out there, by show of hands, like to drink Starbucks coffee? Okay, a couple of you, all right, those others won't admit it, they're kind of like this. Starbucks, yeah, okay, Starbucks coffee. Is it the best tasting coffee like you've ever had? Okay. Why is it so popular? It's everywhere because of what? Their service, their branding, yeah. Here's the thing with Starbucks. They realized many years ago when they started out that they couldn't compete with the big guy at the time, which was Dunkin' Donuts, because Dunkin' Donuts had better tasting coffee. So what they did was they said, how can we differentiate ourselves? Because we cannot compete on just coffee alone. We cannot compete just on products. So what can we do? So they said, aha, let's create an experience for the customer. And how did they do that? They created boutique, I call them boutique coffee houses, and they even rebranded and renamed a small, medium, and large. You can tell how much I go into Starbucks because I don't even know what is a small called these days. What is it? I should say these days. It's like all the time. What's it called? Tall. Okay, to me that means large. Okay, what's the medium? Grande. To me that means like super duper large. So what they did is they rebranded even the names of the small, medium, large, and they created a whole movement. And they created an anchor in people's mind about what they would pay for coffee. So now when you walk into a coffee boutique of any kind that's not Starbucks, unconsciously you look at the menu and you say to yourself, well, it's about the same price as Starbucks. Okay, that's good, right? It's not too high, not too low. That's what we do unconsciously. And to attract the customer that you want, your branding is working at all levels of psychology on the consumer, attracting them or detracting them from your product or your service. Yeah? Think about then, not that you have to be a Starbucks, but what can you do to differentiate yourself out in the marketplace like Starbucks did? Because they said, well, we cannot compete on coffee alone. What can you create that resonates with your audience that will create the brand that you want and attract the buyers that you're looking for? Okay, so here's some truths about brands. Brands help us narrow choice. Brands help us narrow choice. Yeah, we walk down the grocery store, I don't know about you, but the cereal aisle makes my head spin, really does. But brands help me determine, okay, this one has wheat in it, this one, right? I read some of the labels. They help us narrow choice. That's why we need brands. Okay? Brands are more about feelings, not so much about facts. I could give you all the functional benefits of a product, but that's not what you're going to buy on. You're going to buy more on the emotions. You're going to buy more on, how's it going to benefit my life? How is it going to improve my kids' lives? How is it going to help my kids be better students? How is it going to make me a better worker? How is it going to help me reach my dreams, right? So that's what you want to be thinking about. Strong brands hold clear relevance and meaning. What are some brands, aside from the ones that I've talked about here, what are some brands that you frequent? Ones in your life that you resonate with or you're a loyal fan of or a loyal customer of? What are some brands? Who's got some? Just yell it out.
Levi's.
Levi's. How long has Levi's been around? A gazillion years, right? Yeah. Their branding hasn't really changed a whole lot, right? What else? You had something. American Eagle, okay, American Eagle. And they've been around for some time, and there's a certain brand, there's a certain feel, there's a certain essence about them. Okay, what else? Other brands, other products. What about cars? Nissan, okay? Nissan, yeah. Nissan is about different things than Volvo, is about different things than Ford. Right? When Procter and Gamble started their offering a lot of different products, their soaps, their detergents, their beauty products, instead of competing with one another, what they did was they created brand categories. So now the laundry detergents, this was way back when, the laundry detergents weren't competing against themselves. What they did was, what Procter & Gamble did was they assigned different attributes and benefits to each one. So one laundry detergent maybe provided softness, another laundry detergent maybe got your whites whiter, and then the customer could choose. And they sent that branding message out so that I could choose which product that I wanted. That was really how branding began. And this is what it's all about. Brands are built on trust. A good brand like Apple says, I can trust you. It says, when I buy your product, it is backed by your customer service. I can call up when I need to. You'll stay on the phone with me, right? So all of this comes flooding in about what Apple really does and how Apple becomes part of our life. So I'm going to give you the one formula for creating your brand. So you might want to take a few notes or just remember this or take a snapshot of the slide. Okay, target market. And every time I talk about marketing, I have to talk about target market. And I love talking about target market because it's something that people often forget about. It's something that people often, when they're rushing to market, when they're rushing to get their service or their product out there, they go, okay, everybody's my customer. Well, I asked this woman the other day who sold a skin cream, I asked her, well, who's your target? Like, who's your customer? You know what she said to me? She said, everyone who has skin is my customer. Is that a problem? Why is that a problem? Why is that a problem? Pardon?
Everyone has different skin.
Everyone has different skin, right? And there are other people, there are other entities that have skin. I mean, when you think about it, it's not just humanoids. So everyone who has, that's a little too broad, isn't it? It's a little too broad. So how can we narrow it down and go for a market that resonates with what it is we have to offer, that wants the benefits that we have to offer, right? So we're going to talk about target market in a little bit. We're going to break these down. What is the purpose of your brand, what you stand for, and why you serve your customers? So I was sitting in yesterday sitting in on the presentation on discovering your purpose. And it's always a hot topic, like what is my purpose in life? Why am I here? How can I serve the world? Well, you want to start a business or you're in business for a particular reason, yeah? You left the corporate job because probably, like I did, I said, I can do it better. I want to serve a particular market that I wasn't serving in corporate. That's the why, right? My mission, my passion is to educate and inform people about marketing solutions, about marketing and branding solutions. That it's really not that difficult. People think there's just so much. There's a lot out there, but we need to categorize. We need to distill it down. We need to make it simple. So what is your why? Okay? I want you to think about, why do you want to start that business? Because that's going to be the background. That's going to really be the crux of how your business takes off. People are going to resonate with that or they're not. So I want you to just take like 15 seconds right now. I want you to take 15 seconds and I want you to just maybe make a little note or do a little brainstorming about what is your why for why you want to start your business. Okay? Do that right now and I'm just going to stand here silently. Why do you want to start your business? Or if you're in business, why did you start your business? Simon Sinek, his famous video on people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. I encourage you to take a look at that on YouTube. It's been around for a few years. So what are some whys out there? Anybody have anything they want to just shout to the world? Shout to our group?
Freedom!
Okay. Freedom from what? Freedom from?
The man.
Freedom from what?
The man.
Freedom from the man. Like the man or what man? The man.
The owner is like the boss man.
I'm just clarifying.
The boss man.
The boss man. Okay, freedom from the man. But do we have ultimate freedom as business owners? Sometimes, right? Because our clients, that's the new boss now. Okay? Yeah, but freedom. A lot of people say, I could do it better. To heck with this. So freedom from a boss. All right? What are some other whys out there? One more time? A better mousetrap. I love that. You can build a better mousetrap in a particular industry, okay? So really think about, I don't like to just shoot a bunch of information out there. I want you to think a little bit why you do what you do, because in the end, that's what's going to get you up in the morning. That's what's going to keep you going. That's what's going to prevent you from jumping off the cliff, not literally, but you're at the edge of the cliff going, can I do it? Your vision has to carry you. Your why has to carry you. That's when you pick up the phone, you go, okay, I'm having a moment. Talk me down, talk me off the ledge. I know I can do this, just tell me, and maybe it's a text message, but we need the people around us as entrepreneurs to keep us going. So what is your why? Right? What is your why? Develop your brand positioning. All right, we're going to talk about that because that's really at the crux of your message. It's really at the crux of your messaging. And then your voice. Yeah, you each have a personality. Your business has a personality. Levi's has a particular personality as a business. Apple has a personality. Starbucks has a personality. My business has a personality, right? What is the personality you want to convey to your customers, to your clients, again, to attract them? Some might not like the personality you put out there. Right? Not everybody's an Apple fan. Would that be true?
Yes.
Right? Okay. Not everybody likes the Apple personality. Not everybody likes the Volvo personality. Right? Not everybody likes the Toyota personality. There's a voice though. What's that old adage? It's not what you say, but how you say it. That's part of your branding voice. And then determine your key messages and tell your story. Tell your story. We're going to talk a little bit about stories and why that's so important and the research behind storytelling. It's really fascinating. And all of this has to be on a bedrock of your values. What do you value? When's the last time that you did an overview or you did an exercise where you discovered what your top 5 values were? What are your top 5 values? Because that's going to drive how you do business. That's going to drive what you say about your business. Because you are your business. How many of you have your core values? Know your core values? Okay, you're getting there, okay? How many of you will determine your core values? Thank you, okay, thank you, your core values, okay? I was surprised that when I redid my core values, at the top was relationships and relationship building, because I wasn't doing that enough. I was kind of doing my thing. It's important to me. I like connecting with people. Innovation and fun, that came up there too. I was like, wow, that's kind of makes sense with my dad, that innovation. All right, so your target audience. This is what you want to think about when it comes to who you're targeting, not how you're going to reach them, but let's define who they are. Who has the greatest potential for purchasing your product or your service, and what do they need? When we say what do they need, I want you to, let's go back to Mike Diamond Plumbing. There was a gap there in the marketplace. People needed they needed that consistency. They needed to feel like that who showed up was actually going to be pleasant. They wanted that. They had a pain there, and you're addressing the pain as you develop your product or your service. As you determine who your target market is, you're addressing some kind of pain, some kind of discomfort that your audience feels. So there's so many aspects of your target market. And you might have heard that term avatar or buyer persona. That's another way to address who your target market is. You want to think about things like how old they are, where they live, what their lifestyle is, their attitudes, their interests, their behaviors. Really get a snapshot of who they are and what they value. What is it that they value? So going back to some of these other products, when you're choosing a car, what's important to you? Well, it's important that performance is important, or it's important that I don't have to go, that I can go a long time without getting an oil change, right? This is where you ask your customers, what's important to you? What's important to you? I'm thinking about this service, this product. What's important to you? What are you not getting in the marketplace now that maybe I could help you with? So, who are your buyers? Your buyers look very different. And the clearer you can get about who your buyer is, the easier it's going to be to find them. The best thing you can do is to be sitting in a venue like this, and if someone were to walk in the door, and they sat down and they started talking to you, you would say, okay, they're not my buyer or they are my buyer. Wouldn't that be beautiful? That's what we're talking about. Instead of just spreading a whole bunch of flyers or a bunch of marketing pieces, you qualify them, and then you're targeting them, and you're able to save your resources, right? That's what target market does. So what I would encourage you to do, and you can definitely find these online, is determine like what is your buyer persona, we call it. We call it your buyer persona. And you can get a snapshot of who they are. So for instance, this is an individual, 29 years old, she's a project manager, she lives in San Diego. What are some of her frustrations? What are some of her goals? And this was a company. They were trying to find out who their buyer was. They were selling educational products. So what's important to her as she goes back to school or gets a certification? What's important to her to as she has a busy life, she doesn't have a lot of time to go to class. So maybe an online class is good for her. Here's another one. Is this your buyer? Founder and CEO of an advertising agency. Okay, so what does he need? What are his challenges? What are his goals? These are things that I want you to consider. You have to look at, again, what are the challenges? And you won't know that until you ask them. All right, so your why. So first it's, who's my target? Are you getting a kind of a clear picture of who your target is? If you were to sit across the table at a Starbucks or somewhere and talk to them, you should have that clear picture, as clear as you can of that target market. So your why. Why do we serve our customers? What inspires us to do what we do? Again, this is going to prevent you from kind of, falling off the cliff. So what does inspire you to do what you do, besides the freedom, right? Maybe it's doing something different. Maybe it's being innovative. Like my father, it was about putting out art that people would appreciate. And in reading his artist statement, he kind of had this irreverent style where he said, you know what? Just because the fact that you've interacted with my art, whether you like it or not, you're having an experience. He wanted people to have an experience with his art, whether they liked it or not. So what is your why? Why is it that you do what you do? So what is their why? Who's heard of a company called Zappos? Anybody heard? Okay. Zappos started out as an online shoe retailer. They have broadened to more products and services. If you ever have a chance to check out any videos from their CEO, Tony Hsieh, he used to get, I think it was like $1 a year, because he's definitely made his money. But he's all about how to deliver happiness. If you go to the Zappos company in Las Vegas, downtown Las Vegas, what you will see, and you take a tour, right? How many of you go to Vegas? Anybody go to Vegas? Nobody goes to Vegas? Maybe sometimes go to Vegas. So if you go to Vegas, I would encourage you to, go to downtown, go to the downtown area where it's been revived, and take a tour of Zappos. And here's what you'll find. When you walk into their customer service area, it looks like a party. It looks like a three-ring circus. There are streamers, there are toys, there are people like throwing things, but they take customer service very, very seriously. And that's all driven by their leader, Tony Hsieh. In fact, when you are hired at Zappos and you're going through a training program and you're there for a few days, they come to you and they say, we will give you $3,000 to leave right now. And some people think about it. Tony Hsieh says, I think it's like about 3% of the people actually take the money and go. But if they accept the money, what does that say? That they weren't a right fit for Zappos. So their why is about delivering happiness, is about the guarantee, is about having that great customer experience. Who's heard of Tom's Shoes? Right? Their why is giving back, is charitable contributions. So with every pair of shoes that you buy, Tom's Shoes will then give back to a needy child in the world. So you know when you buy Tom's Shoes, that guess what? You're contributing to a cause. It's important. It's important to them. Okay. So this is where we're going to get a little bit in the weeds. Everybody okay so far? Any questions so far? Questions, comments, thoughts? I'm going to have a brain for a little bit. Okay. It's too far, right? Okay. Way too far. Okay. Everybody still with me? You're good? Okay. All right. So what have you picked up so far? I'd like you to just take 30 seconds and just tell somebody, right? This is part of the learning process. Tell somebody what you've picked up so far, right? That can help you with your brand. Do that now. And I'm going to walk over here out of frame. What have you picked up so far, ladies?
I really have to know why.
Your why is important. Okay. that
I thought it was
importance.
important for values.
Yep.
But I
Yep.
think it was important for the purpose.
Yep. Right. Because that's going to show up in your marketing, for sure. Yeah. And you think about some of these companies that you follow that you admire. They know their why.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Anybody else? What you picked up? What did you pick up?
Your core values are really important.
Core values.
Not only for yourself, but also for the reason why you're doing what you're doing. So, always have a goal, always have a mission.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's got to connect with your employees. If they understand what your why is, if they understand the core values, and guess what? Then you can hire based on that, right? So that's why the consumer brand and the employee brand should really marry, because you can recruit based on your brand, based on your core values, based on your why. Okay. Anybody else? Anything else that you picked up? Anybody else? Anybody else? Anyone? I just want to make sure you're with me still. Okay. Great. Okay. So we're going to get in the weeds a little bit because this is really the crux of developing your messaging. Brand positioning. It's as easy as ABC. Right? You already know about your target audience. You already know you're going to develop. And again, just go online and you can Google buyer persona and pull up some examples of how to create your buyer persona. Really easy. What are the benefits of a particular offering that you have? And what's the compelling reason why? So we're going to define these. At this point, I'm going to put on my glasses. I need to read some of this. Okay. So benefits come in the form of functional as well as emotional. Yeah? Emotional is, how am I going to feel when I drive that car? How am I going to feel when I interact with your product? How am I going to feel when my child receives some tutoring and they come home with their report card and it's an A instead of a D? How am I going to feel? How is the customer going to feel? The functional is just, all right, here's the study, or here is the tutoring program. It consists of books, it consists of coaching, it consists of weekly coaching calls, whatever it is, right? That's the functional. This is how it's laid out. The compelling reason why would be the proof points, how you will deliver on the brand promise. And if you start with the that's because, then that will help you in this process. So I'm going to actually give you an example of, I might have to step out of frame to read this, okay. So what I did is I took a client who offers a training program to improve your memory. When we all like that as we get a little older. Yeah. Right? So Skills for Success Learning is her company, Skills for Success Learning. So her target would be people, and I'm going to stand over here, men and women, 55 years and older, starting to see a decline in their memory. They're experiencing like brain fog, they're experiencing slow mental processing speed, trouble conjuring up facts and memories, right? Maybe I'm just the only one that can relate to that. So it's a result of the aging process. The benefit to this program is CogMed, and that's the name of the program. CogMed boosts working memory to decrease information overload, right? Some people experience information overload. And increase focus, socialization, and the ability to prioritize quicker. And the result is you want to feel more confident, right? Because you're in a social situation and you can't remember something, that creates some awkwardness. You lose some of your memory, that creates some awkwardness. Wouldn't you feel a lot more confident if you were in a social situation and you could remember just like that? You could pull up those facts. The compelling reason why. So that's because, in other words, how can we deliver this benefit? How can we deliver this benefit? It's demonstrated by research. It's actually backed research which has been done on key groups such as those with epilepsy and cognitive impairment. So if you look it up, there's a lot of research on this program that shows that it works. It works. And the program, more of the functional, or the compelling reason why it's more along the functional is because the program is short, it provides short online sessions. So it's not just the results you're going to get and that it's backed by a research, but then again, what's the crux of the program itself? What are the components of the program? And if you're interested in the program, I encourage you to look up the website, skillsforsuccess.com, because she's got a lot of great programs that will not only help adults improve their cognitive, their memory and their cognitive functions, but also students as well. So This is how we created her brand positioning. And this is all going to be developed into a statement because that is what your brand is built on. That will help your messaging. Creating your branding voice, now it's how you say what you say. It's about the impression that your brand leaves on the customer. What's the impression that you want to leave on a customer after they do business with you? How do you want them to feel?
Feel good.
Feel good. And what does feel good to you mean? Like
they benefited from it.
Like they've benefited in some way. Yeah? Like, phew, Terrence did my videotaping and he's going to make me look like a star, and I know when my videos get out there, people are they're gonna resonate with me, and he's gonna make me look good, and right, all that. You want him to feel good, yeah. So he's got a certain voice. He's got a certain branding voice that he puts out there. Is your voice the voice of practicality, right? Maybe that's Terrence's voice. Is it helpfulness? Like your voice, your persona, maybe it's helpfulness. Is it good-natured? Is it empowering? I always say be a voice, not an echo. Create your own voice, yeah? I like my voice to be one of education and information, but also warmth and connection, because I enjoy connecting with people. If you look at this next slide, and your branding voice should be evident in everything you do, it's about, how do you understand the client's pain? If people are wanting a video, they have some pain, maybe they did a video and it wasn't very good. Maybe another videographer didn't do them justice. Maybe their pain is they don't have a video at all. And they know with YouTube, they need to start getting out there and getting more of the videos out there. What are the benefits that you provide, and collect powerful stories? So this is the slide that I want you to pay attention to. If we reflect on different products and services that are out there, okay, let's take Bank of America. All right, Bank of America. What would you like to see? What kind of voice would you like to see Bank of America exhibit? What kind of voice? What kind of personality would you like to see Bank of America exhibit? Like, you've got your money there. What do you want? What do you expect from them? What do you expect from them? Security. Okay. What else do you expect? Honesty. Yeah, did that happen with Wells Fargo? Hello. Okay. What else would you like to see from your financial institution? Security, honesty. Okay. Is fun a voice or personality that you would like to see associated with your bank? Frivolity, whimsy, would that be something that you would want to see from your financial institution? What do you think? Right. How about ruggedness? Would that be a good term for your financial institution? That'd be more for REI, right? Or camping equipment, wouldn't it? Think about, reflect on, what's the personality you want to exhibit out there? And this comes across on social media. This comes across in all of your marketing. What's the voice? Stability would be something else that you'd want from your bank, right? So if you read an advertisement for Bank of America, you wouldn't expect it to look like Toys R Us. You wouldn't expect it to look like an REI. You wouldn't expect it to look like maybe like a car company, because that's all about security as well, a lot of times. Yeah? So these are just some examples: excitement, confidence, sophistication, diamonds, sophistication, high-end hotels, luxury items, Louis Vuitton bags, yeah? So these products and services, if they do it right, they are creating the brand, they are creating the perception that their customers will resonate with. They're pushing that brand out. And here's another key reason to brand, is then you don't have to compete on price, right? You don't have to compete on price. And it becomes a lot easier for you to say, again, here's what I'm about. I'm not for you, but I'm for you. And that's okay. That's completely okay. All right, so determining your key messages. It's the next step in the process, right? You've got your target, you've got your why, you've got your personality now. Now it comes, and your brand position. Now it comes down to your key messages. These key messages tell the story of your brand, bringing the brand to life through words that can be delivered consistently by everyone on your team, anytime, any place. Anytime, any place. If I stopped you in the hallway and asked you, what's our key message? What do we stand for? Why are we in business? Your employees should be able to tell me that. anytime, anywhere. I see you down the street, at the store, right? Your customer should have some idea of what, if I use your product or service, what you represent. As a customer, I should know what you represent. Guidelines, concise and conversational includes the why, if it is compelling or inspirational. I really like the Lowe's, the Improving Home Improvement. That's just like one of my favorites. It just says a lot in 3 simple words, improving home improvement. Does anybody happen to know who came up, or what the company was for the Diamond is Forever? Anybody know?
Years.
What is it? What is it?
Starts with a D.
Keep going. What is it?
That lady.
De Beers. Is that what you're going to say?
The lady. She was like.
Okay. But the company that used that slogan first was De Beers, right? De Beers? De Beers. We don't often think of that. But that slogan lives and lives and lives and lives. And we think, well, it's attributed to some other jewelry company. It's not. It's De Beers. De Beers, De Beers, De Beers. Yeah, it still lives forever. Your key messages can live forever. Storytelling. Storytelling. Why is storytelling so important? So Seth Godin, he's a thought leader, he's a marketer, you catch a lot of his videos out there. He's a prolific blogger, and he was around long before our digital marketing came along. He'll talk about how he kind of missed the boat and said, oh, this digital stuff, like internet, whatever, and then he finally got on board. But he says, marketing is no longer about the stuff you make, but it's about the stories you tell. Make the core of your brand more memorable with storytelling. So let me give you a little research behind why storytelling is so important. And I was super excited to hear that, super excited, oh, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Hold on, set my timer. Super excited to hear that Paul Zak, who conducted research about storytelling, was right around the corner at Claremont Colleges. And I was reading about Paul Zak. So he's a professor of psychology and marketing, I believe, at Claremont Colleges. So what he did was he tested out storytelling through a feel-good hormone, or the love hormone, called oxytocin. And he took subjects and he said, does oxytocin create a behavioral change in people? It does, right? So they call it the love hormone for a reason. It makes people feel more gratitude. It makes people, I'm not going to say they fall in love, but it makes them more considerate. They're more giving. They're more grateful. And so what he did was he took oxytocin. He took one group of people and he injected them with oxytocin. And the other group was just the placebo. Then he had them watch videos, public service announcements for, I believe it was like texting, drunk driving, and texting while or drive. Don't text while driving. And what happened was the group that he injected the oxytocin into, they watched the video, and the entity or the nonprofit that was featured in the video, they could donate if they wanted to. They donated up to 57% more. So to bring this kind of full circle, this is a picture of me in front of that same teeter-totter. Now, this really demonstrates that time marches on and moves so quickly, doesn't it? This was just taken recently because we are selling my father's house, and there's a lot of stuff to go through, a lot of art. There's memorabilia, there's memories, and there's this teeter-totter. So as time passes, time can move so quickly. What are you doing regularly to build your brand? What are you doing regularly to build your business? Because there's no time like the present to get that going. What is your why? Whether your why is to communicate your passion, whether your why is to serve people, whether your why is to make connections, whether your why is to be innovative and come out with some new product or service. Like, what is your why? What is it based on? And get started developing your brand based on that, because if we did the things we are capable of, we would truly astound ourselves. We really would. So don't wait. Please don't wait. Don't wait another day. Don't wait another year. Get what you need together to create your brand because that's what's going to sustain your business, and that's what's going to make you successful and your business successful. I want to thank you for being here, for spending this time with me, and good luck with the rest of Startup.